Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited about a new series I'm going to start today where I'm going to interview entrepreneurs, side hustlers, small business owners, and find out how they use their passion and skills in the workplace. This is our debut of this series, and the first business that I'm going to be interviewing with is Unleashed Potential out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And actually, the person that I'm going to be interviewing today is a good friend of mine. It's someone I played basketball with in high school, someone I actually coached with for several years at the high school level. So I pride myself on the fundamentals of basketball, but this guy is above and unlike any other, knows his stuff, incredibly fundamental. I'm talking about Jordan Stasyszyn. Jordan, I just want to say thanks so much for agreeing to this interview. And if you don't mind, just kind of let us know about you, let us know about who it is that you work with, and just Unleash Potential as a whole.
Hey Sean, absolutely. First and foremost, thanks for having me. I've been watching closely what you're doing and keeping up. You're doing a tremendous job. I think it's really beneficial, some of the insight and information you're providing people with. So as Sean said, I'm Jordan Stasyszyn. Carlisle born and raised, as is Sean. Grew up around basketball my entire life. I played at Carlisle High School. I played collegiately at the Division I and II levels, both for Fairleigh Dickinson University, and then I graduated from Shippensburg, where I got my bachelor's in public relations communications. I also received a master's degree after my days at Shippensburg from LaSalle in Philadelphia, with a master's in professional and business communication with a special emphasis on social media. That's sort of when our idea, I should say, of Unleashed Potential sort of came about. My wife, Alexa, my father, Joe, and at the time, my sister, Kelsey, sort of had the idea of starting a training company to instill in these young players in this area the fundamentals that provided me with the opportunity to play at a higher level after high school. So we started really small. We were in a church gym with spotty hours, sort of just taking people, by appointment only on a very limited basis. We've grown exponentially in the last few years, now coming on our 7th year in business, to where we're full-time 7 days a week out of a consistent gym that we have. We offer both individual, small group training as well as team training, which we travel to upwards of 20 teams just in this area on a regular basis. What we focus on in Unleashed Potential is skill development as well as performance work. So from a basketball standpoint, fundamental wise, it's your ball handling, your shooting, your passing, everything needed to be effective on the basketball court with those physical attributes. But we also work on performance work that, especially for our young players that are doing multiple sports, it carries over, in whatever they do. And some of that performance work we build into our drills is footwork, speed, agility, quickness, and strength as well. So we try and make sure that players and athletes coming to us get all-around development.
That's a great answer, Jordan. There were two things that really stood out to me as you were talking there. And the first thing was you talked about, who makes up Unleashed Potential. And it's obviously a family thing. I know all you guys are good people. You guys truly care about the players that you're coaching, the players that you're working with. That other thing that really stood out to me in your response was when you talked about the all-around development of players. I think a lot of people just think it's whether they can dribble the ball, they can put the ball in the hoop, but you've been through the trenches through your career. It's mental. The mental aspect of the game is huge, and I think you do a great job at that. So that was a great answer. If we're looking and moving on ahead to the next question, you have somewhat of a unique situation in which you were doing this on the side at first with your family, and then I talk a lot about side hustles on the channel. So at one point, not too terribly long ago, you quit your day job. You were working with the state to go full-time with Unleashed Potential. So can you just kind of let us know what that was like when you made the move full-time and maybe your reasoning behind doing that?
I love that you're all about the side hustles, and it's obviously great when a side hustle can become your main source of income, and something you have a passion about. And I know we'll get to my sneakers later as my new side hustle. But yeah, I was working for the state government here in Pennsylvania for over 5 years, and I got to the point where it wasn't that I disliked going to work every single day and doing that job. It just wasn't what I was passionate about. The basketball thing with Unleashed had grown so much year after year. I started at the state about the same time we started with the basketball training company. And, I'm not sure at the beginning the goal was or ever thought that it would be possible to make the Unleashed Potential full time. But as it started to grow, the thought became, I'm going to stay and do my state job as long as it's not slowing down the progress and the growth of Unleashed Potential. And with my father retiring from, the school system, he's a teacher and athletic director, and my wife having a really flexible job, I've been able to step into that role full time with Unleashed. And I'll tell you one other big thing with that was just the stability of, with the growth of the company, it wasn't that risk of just starting from scratch and going all in on taking that plunge. This was something that we saw proof of concept for years. And I'll tell you one of the biggest things was to alleviate some of that risk was not only the proof of our business year after year and the growth of it, but also having a location that we could train that was steady and would be something long term. I mentioned we started at the church. That was tough because of all the church events that are constantly demanding gym time, but we've partnered with the YWCA here in Carlisle, who not only does tremendous community outreach, I think a lot of times they're overlooked for the work they do here locally when they do as good of work as anybody else in their community, but they were also able to provide us with a gym that we pretty much had unlimited access to when we needed to, and hopefully, knock on wood, there's no plans of going anywhere else, and that lasts for a long time.
I really love that partnership that you have, that relationship you have with the YWCA. I'm going to get into some other partnerships here in a second. One other thing that you kind of mentioned that I think is really important for people to understand is that you weren't completely passionate about your day job. This business, Unleash Potential, is something that you are fully passionate, and I think a lot of people sometimes maybe are scared to follow their passion, and go all in. But you also mentioned you didn't really necessarily go all in because you used what I really like, that proof of concept. It's not a word that I say a whole lot, and I like it a lot. It was a proven concept that what you guys are doing is working, and your time was valuable and it could be used a lot better full time in that position. So that was really neat to kind of hear you walk me through that whole process. So I'm just going to kind of move on again a little further. And the question is, how is the business broken down? Meaning, who does the training, marketing, the finances? Do you guys outsource anything? What other partnerships? I know you mentioned the YWCA. What other partnerships help to make your business run?
So we really have a great team here at Unleashed. Myself and Alexa, we sort of handle a lot of the back end stuff. So I'm in charge of all social media. I run a Facebook and Instagram, as well as a Twitter page for us at Unleash Potential. Alexa, she does the website design, the website maintenance, as well as all of our actual design work, so our graphics and everything that you see when we have an upcoming program. My father, Joe, he's getting towards the end of his basketball training career, so we try and take the brunt of that from him, but he is really instrumental, and it's been huge for our growth in the outreach and relationships outside of this area. He's helped get us involved with USA Basketball, with the Boston Celtics. We often travel to places like Rhode Island for clinics with these large organizations, and he's been really instrumental in developing that. And then I would say, just all of us together, and this is probably the most important thing, is we really value the relationships we're building with the kids and the parents. It's a relationship built on hard work, but also honesty. And that's something that, 24/7, all of us are on call for. It's not just when we're in the gym, but we're putting in those times and hours consistently with parents and players via text or social media messages or phone calls. And that's a total team effort. As far as outsourcing, we really don't work with any set company that can provide this service for us. Our outsourcing is mainly with the organizations we work with. We've been very fortunate to work with Mid-Penn Motion, AAU, which is one of the largest organizations for AAU in central Pennsylvania. They have over 20 teams that we're the official trainer of. So each year they get a set amount of sessions per teams, and they're a nonprofit. So we tend to believe, and we stand behind them on this, that they do a better job of anybody without a monetary motive on their end as a nonprofit. They just truly want what's best for the kid. So we've been aligned with them now for, I believe, 5 years, and that's been a great partnership.
Those partnerships are so critical, and I love to hear that you've been working so closely with Mid-Penn Motion. I also I love the idea and how you guys have a great structure in who does what to make your company successful. Big thing that I'm really interested in is just how social media is used, and it's just so important with growth of really any type of company. And I think more people are starting to realize that, and just being able to engage with your clients and their families can be huge. So I'm sure being involved in running a small business can be challenging. So with that said, what are some of your biggest challenges in general, and really more specifically with the coronavirus quarantine in full effect?
Yeah, being a business owner certainly presents you with a lot of unique challenges, and I would say, a lot of them that you can't even plan for until you're in the situation. I think the biggest jump, just from leaving the working world, with a boss and being an employee, to owning your own company, is everything sort of falls on you. When decisions have to be made, whether it's snowing out and you need to cancel a session or judge the conditions for people to travel, that's a decision you make. When there's an issue with the website, or something doesn't go as planned, through your system of scheduling and booking that's online, it's not like you can just punch in a ticket and have IT come and fix it. That's something that you and your team at our business, we need to figure out and fix immediately for the business to function smoothly. I think another challenge is just with growth, and this is a good challenge to have. Scheduling becomes really difficult. We have 3 main trainers that I mentioned before: myself, my wife, and my father. And then we have had help come in to grow with us and allow us to do more things as we grow. But the demand of sometimes being in 3 gyms at once and making sure that's covered, and we're still bringing our brand and presenting what we do and our product, which is training, to the best of our ability, that adds a lot of thought and prior planning into it. As you mentioned, the virus was a major curveball. I think obviously we were aware of it. We're not living under a rock. But then when it hits you with a government shutdown, that's a lot of scrambling, where before your boss tells you, hey, we're closed for 2 weeks, go work at home. And now it was like, okay, well, the 40 to 60 people we have booked for this week of training, and 20 or 30 of them, planning to come tonight. Now we're in charge of that communication and that backup plan to letting people know, hey, here's the steps we're taking to remain safe during this. Here's our plan to bounce back from this in the future. And we got to maintain that communication so that they know what's going on once our doors reopen here soon in the near future.
Yeah, man, this coronavirus thing hit hard. It really seems like, you were quick on your feet and you had an action plan. I just hope you get back to business real soon. I know you probably have some other things going on that you're doing all right, but I just hope you guys can get back up and running as soon as possible. Moving on to another question. So I'm a phys ed teacher. I might have a younger audience. Even if it's not a younger audience, that's fine too. What do you take from your K through 12 education, and then even your college education, that you use or feel is very important for kids and as you run your business?
I think a lot of, sort of what you're teaching your kids and what they learn in the school system, and also just what we were all raised upon on some of those basic principles of being a good person, having a good character. Even though we're teaching basketball and building that skill set, we're also really big on holding those kids accountable for those same things. So, and it's a learning curve sometimes for a few kids. They're young and they can get out of hand quickly if you let them. But we tried to build a culture with what we do, and when they step in our gym, that they know One, we're going to work as hard as we can. Two, we're going to have fun, but it's going to be focused fun. We're not going to be in there, fooling around and bouncing balls off the wall or talking when the coach is talking. Another thing is, just the confidence issue. A lot of kids, especially in a group setting, when they mess up, they giggle because they're nervous, or, it's just a lack of self-confidence, where we like to force kids just in our group settings to talk, to admit what they did well, and also recognize the things they could improve upon. And the other thing is, when kids come in, we talk about goals. We also talk about how they're doing in the classroom. One of our things is we don't care what your skill level is or what your goals are. We train everybody the same, and that we expect a lot of you in terms of effort and being coachable and being a good person. But, whatever your goal is, basketball or not, you have to be a good person. You have to be a good student. We show that we care by constantly asking and checking up on them. And I think for the kids, they see that you care. You can't fake it with kids. They can smell BS from a mile away. So when it's an authentic, caring relationship, I think that goes a long way in developing what we're telling them. We're actually developing that in that young person. And also, we've lived these things. So the fact that we did play in college at a high level, and we now have the resume that what we're saying to them, we have proof of the work. So it's not just some older person saying, hey, look, this is the same song and dance that everyone gives you, but I didn't do that, just don't mess up like me. Our proof is like, look, the things we're telling you, we took to heart when we were your age, and here's the result that we got out of it. I think it's really important that they model themselves and fit what we did to their own unique individuality, but there's a lot of commonplace in there with what they're being taught in the school system as well.
Jordan, you're hitting a lot of, really big ideas. I hope you don't mind. I'm over here taking notes as you're talking, just because you're making a lot of good points. A couple of things that I just kind of heard you say, which another thing that I like to talk about here on the channel is just those goals on and off the court that you guys, talk with the students, or the athletes when they're with you. The accountability you guys provide with them. And then working on really developing that self-confidence, learning how to communicate. We all know that's a hard thing to do, especially when the bright lights are on. So learning how to communicate in smaller groups, and then when the bright lights come on, it's so key to being a good basketball player. So that's really great. I'm going to keep moving. I just know you're incredibly passionate about the game of basketball, and working with individuals striving for greatness on and off the court. What ability levels, ages can train with you?
So we've sort of grown throughout the years with the age groups that we accept. We started off in our early days, 4th grade and above. We announced in the last few years, and I've actually run these programs where we do have limited programs for 2nd and 3rd graders as well. But we work with kids anywhere from 2nd grade up through the college and professional ranks. Skill level is never an issue, so we take beginners, intermediate, advanced, as we said, high level college and pro players too. Our biggest thing is we make sure they're always grouped with similar ability and age groups. But pretty much everybody is welcome, and as we've grown, we've continued to add more programs to fit the needs of the athlete.
That's awesome. So 2nd grade and up. I know you guys have had the ability to run some clinics with the NBA, developing those relationships as well. I think that's all great. So we're going to just kind of finish up here, Jordan. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I'm going to finish with 5 quick questions that I just want you to give me a one-word answer to, just have a little fun. Your favorite aspect of your job or business?
All right, I'm going to cheat on the first one. Freedom, and also seeing the development and growth of the young people.
Number 2, who has been your greatest mentor or influence on your life and business?
Carlisle basketball family.
Number 3, who's your favorite basketball player?
Kobe.
Number 4, an adjective to describe a successful basketball player.
I'll go with coachable.
And 5, your favorite shoe of all time.
I got one for you here. Nothing like it. Jordan 11 Concord.
I had to add that last one because I know Jordan has a shoe reselling side business or side hustle as well. And if you're interested in checking out what he's got for sale, you can go to his Instagram. That's at heartandsoul717. And I had no idea before we were doing this interview that he was going to be remotely in his shoe collection there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, hey, appreciate the shout out. These are all off touch though. This is a personal collection, but I do post what's for sale on at heartandsoul717.
Wow, that's amazing. I am always checking your stuff out, and I think you guys should check it out as well. He's got a lot of good stuff. If I wasn't on a budget, maybe I'd be able to pick up a couple pairs, but we're on a little tighter budget these days. But anyway, so I want to just kind of give you the floor, Jordan. Before I wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I'd say in closing, my biggest thing or advice to anyone with a side hustle, or looking to start their own business is no matter what you do, for your 9 to 5 or, the living that you make on a daily basis right now, is find something out that you're passionate about and, find a way to monetize that. As Sean's mentioned in a lot of his stuff, multiple streams of income are very important, especially for growing families. The rising cost of goods and just overall cost to live in today's society. The biggest thing is with your side hustle or with your business, as long as you give it 100% of your time and effort when you're working on that, and also you do things for the right reason and are sincere in your efforts, whether it is with your hustle or a business you're looking to grow, you don't need to beg people or ask for support and this, that, and the other. If you do things well and you do things the right way, all that will come. And really the sky's the limit. You can take these things as far as you'd like to.
Wow, Jordan, that's so good. There's so many things I could point out in that. I didn't get a chance to take notes on that little segment, but that's all right. So the bar usually when you start things like this is here and you work your way up. I think that all the knowledge and just things that Jordan has worked through with Unleashed Potential, we started the bar up here. So we have a lot to live up to, and for the next round of interviews, I want to thank Jordan just for his time that he gave me. Everything he had to say was great. Don't forget to check out on Instagram, Facebook, and their website, unleashed717.com. You can learn more about their business, book them, do what you got to do. Definitely recommend this company, especially if you are an athlete who wants to get better at the game of basketball, mentally and on the court. If you're interested in being featured on Gym Class Finance, please feel free to reach out, or I'll reach out to you. This will also go on a blog at fourquarterswealth.com. And just remember, it's that simple.